Hello, this is Sarah with Posh Pooch Designs, and today's video I'm going to show you how to make this fun Chihuahua bag. It's a little girl's purse. Has a little button loop. You can stash her goodies inside. And I like to use a little flower button because it makes it look like she's got a flower on her head. But you can use any type of button that you want to. And this is a free pattern on my blog. It's just called the Little Chihuahua Purse. It looks like a little chihuahua. Now, one little hint about this, if you want it to be a different dog, you can just pull the ears down and tack them down, and it becomes any kind of little dog. Chihuahuas have their ears up, and so that's why I did the ears up. Now, like I said, this is a free pattern on my blog, and we use just regular Super Saver yarn, and for today's demonstration I'm going to make one in pink and purple. I thought that would be fun, and I've got this little purple flower that I'm going to use to put on the top, like this red one. You're also going to need your H hook. You're going to need a needle for sewing the parts on, and then you're going to need some a little bit of black. You're going to need a little bit for the eyes of green or blue or whatever color you want your eyes, and then the white for the outside, and a little tiny bit of pink for the tongue. If you want to add a tongue, you don't have to. It's all stitched with worsted weight number 4. You can use any worsted weight number 4 yarn that you have. So we're going to get started, and we're going to start with the back, which is basically a circle. And then we'll do the front, which starts a little bit of a circle, but you've got a little pooch out for the nose. And then we continue on with our circle. It's stitched together. Then we make our ears and our handle. Very simple little pattern. And I think you're really going to have fun with it, because you can use any colors that you want to make it. All right, so gather you up some worsted weight yarns. You can use solid or variegated or any colors that you want. Get your H hook and let's get started. I'm going to be using this pink for the back of my bag. And we're going to start with the back. We're going to make our slip knot. And then we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. Move my yarn over a little, give me a little more room here. And now we're going to place 9 half double crochets in the 3rd chain from the hook. The first 2 chains counts as our first half double crochet. So to half double crochet, you yarn over, go through the chain and pull up a loop, yarn over and go through all 3 of those loops. The entire body of the bag is stitched in half double crochets. And those of you who watch my videos, you know that's one of my favorite plain stitches. I always say when a single crochet is too short, but a double crochet is too tall, the half double crochet is just right. It really is one of my favorite stitches because you can get a nice condensed stitch, and it works perfect for this little purse. All right, let's see how many I've got made here. There's our chain 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I need to make 2 more. 8 and 9. And now we're going to join to the top of that chain 2 with a slip stitch and chain 2. And then we're going to place one half double crochet in the same stitch as our chain 2. And then we're going to place 2 half double crochets in each stitch around. So we had 10 half double crochets for our first row. Get in there. It popped right out. And we'll have 20 half double crochets for our second row or round. We're going around in a circle, so I guess we should call them rounds. I usually think of rounds, some more yarn out, when we don't join. But we're joining each row on this one. So it's kind of what you want to call it. Is it a row or is it a round? go. Couple more. And then 2 in the last stitch. All right, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. Oops, I think I did 2 too many. Let's count again. We want to make sure. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. I did not do too many. It's always best to count and make sure it's right rather than just to keep going. All right, so there's our 20 half double crochets. We're going to join to the top of that chain 2. And we're going to chain 2. 1, 2. Now, for row 3, we're going to place a second half double crochet in the same stitch as the chain. And then we're only going to place 1 half double crochet in the next stitch. And the way this pattern will work for row 3 is we'll place 2 half double crochets in the next stitch and 1 half double crochet in the next stitch. So we're doing 2 and 1. 1, 2, and then 1 half double crochet. And we'll do this all the way around, and then we'll join to the top of that chain 2, and we'll have 30 half double crochets around. So we've stitched 2 half double crochets and then 1 half double crochet all the way around our circle, and that gave us a total of 30 half double crochets. For row 4, we're going to do it similar, only we're going to chain 2 counts as our first. We're going to place 1 half double crochet in the next stitch and then 2 half double crochets in the next stitch. And so the way our pattern's going to work around for row 4 is 1 half double crochet in the next 2 stitches and then 2 half double crochets in the next stitch. And we'll do this all the way around. 1 half double crochet in the next 2 stitches and then 2 half double crochets in the next stitch. And we'll do this all the way around our circle. We'll join to the top of our chain 2 and then we'll chain 2. So 1 half double crochet in the next 2 stitches and 2 half double crochets in the next stitch. So I finished the 4th round or row, whichever you want to call it, and we did 2 half double crochets, 1 in the next 2 double crochets, and then we did 2 double crochets in the next stitch. We did 2, 1, 2, 1 all the way around. And for row 5, we're going to do it the same way. And row 5, row 6, and row 7, you're going to increase by 1. In other words, for row 5, you're going to do 3 single half double crochets and then 2 half double crochets. And then in row 6, you're going to do 4 single half double crochets and then 2 double crochets together. And then in row 7, you'll do 5 half double crochets each in the next stitch and then 2 half double crochets together. And by doing it this way, we're making our circle get bigger and bigger. And so that's how we're increasing each row, doing 1 more additional half double crochet by itself and then the 2 double crochets. So for row 5, our chain 2 counts as our first half double crochet. I keep wanting to say double crochet. So we're going to put a half double crochet in the next 2 stitches because the first one counted as 3, and then we're going to put 2 half double crochets in the next stitch. All right, I can't seem to say half double crochet today. All right, so the pattern for row 5 is 1 half double crochet in the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, and this is 3. And then we'll put 2 half double crochets. Oops, I got a string there. There we go. In the next stitch. So that's the pattern that we're going to do for row 5. 1, 2, 3 half double crochets, 1 in the next 3 half double crochets, and then 2 half double crochets in the next stitch. And we'll continue this all the way around for row 5. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2 in the next stitch. So I have stitched my 7 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And each row we did 10, 20, and then 30, and then we did 2 half double crochets and then 2 half double crochets in the same stitch. And then the next row we did 3, 4, all the way up. On row 7 we did 5 single half double crochets and then 2 double crochets, and that's the extent of the size of our pattern, the size of our purse. We're not going to get any bigger at this point. So what we're going to do on row 8 is we're just going to stitch 1 half double crochet in each half double crochet around, and that's going to give us just a little bit of lip for our handbag or our purse. So we're going to chain 2, and we'll just place 1 half double crochet in each half double crochet around. And you can see by stitching this way, we're going to get this little lip. And that'll just be the edge of our purse when we do the front part that we can sew together and make the back of the purse. Because that's what we're working on here, is the back. So 1 half double crochet in each half double crochet around the circle. So you can see I did 1 half double crochet in each half double crochet around, and it's starting to form a ridge. And so for row 9, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put 1 half double crochet in each half double crochet around, and then we're going to make the button loop, and then we'll tie off. So again, we're going to place 1 half double crochet in each half double crochet around our circle, all the way around. And once we get back around, we'll join to our chain 2, and I'll show you how to make your button loop. I just finished stitching row 9, and you can see it makes a nice edge on the bag. So we can put them together. But what we're going to do right here, because this is going to be the center of the back of the bag, we're just going to make a little button loop. And the way we do that is instead of chaining 2, we're going to chain 9. Now, one thing to remember, I have this nice big button that I'm going to use because I like it. If you chose a bigger button or a smaller button, you may want to change the amount of chains that you put in your button loop, because you want to make sure that the loop fits the button, but it's not too big or too small. And this button, let me show you here. Here we go. Measures about, at its widest part, about 1.5 inches. So that can kind of give you an idea of how big to make your button loop. And so then all you're going to do, we've made our chain. Scoot back a little so you can see what I'm doing. We've made our chain, And then we're just going to join right down underneath that first chain with a slip stitch. There we go. And then we'll cut that off. There we go. And we'll tie that off. And then we'll use our needle and weave that in. And that will work perfect for buttoning the front of the bag over. The back of the bag has the loop on it, and the button will be on the front. And then you can button that over. So now we've made the back of our bag. And that's what the back looks like. So now we need to make the front. So now we are ready to make the front of our bag. And we're going to start with our black, because we're going to start with the nose of our dog, and then we'll work our way around, and then we'll work our way around here. I'm going to be using the purple for this section, and then I'll switch back to the pink. Partly I want to show you how to change colors, but the truth is you don't have to. I just think it looks fun changing the colors. All right, so we're going to start with a chain 3 with our black, because we're going to make our nose. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to place 9 half double crochets in the second chain from the hook, like we started with the other one, because the first chain 2 counts as our first half double crochet. And I know that black is hard to see, but we were going to make the nose black, so just bear with me a little bit, because we're only using black on this row for the nose. We'll be switching over to the purple. All right, let me make sure I've got the 10. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. One more. There we go. We're going to join to the top of that half double crochet. And then we'll cut that off. We're going to join in our purple. And I know this black is hard to see, but it's done the truth is this row is done exactly the same at the beginning as the back. It's in these next rows that are different, because we're going to make the nose pooch out a little bit. So we're going to change to our next color. We're going to be using purple for our face of our dog bag, our Chihuahua bag. Pull out some more yarn. Okay, we're going to chain 2, and then we're only going to place 1 half double crochet in each half double crochet around. And by doing it this way, it's going to make the nose pooch out of the bag a little bit. See how it's kind of curling a little bit around my thumb there? So we only want 10 half double crochets. Let me count. Here's our chain 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm like, that didn't look right. All right. And now we're going to join to the top of that chain 3. Like that. And I'm going to take that and just push that through. That way. And now you can see there's our little nose. Alrighty. Then we're going to chain 2. 1, 2. And we're going to do that again. 1 half double crochet in each half double crochet around. We want there to only be 10 half double crochets, or 9 half double crochets plus our chain 2. And this is going to cause the front just to pooch out just enough to give us a little bit of a nose, without sticking too far out, or us having to sew something on the front of the bag in order to give this appearance. And don't worry about the strings. We'll get those all tidied up when we're done. Alrighty, let's join to the top of that chain 2. Get in there. All right. So there's our little nose. Isn't that cute? Does it look a little nose to you? All right. So we repeated row 2, and those are our first 3 rows. And now for row 4, because row 3 we repeated row 2. And row 4, we're going to place 2 half double crochets in each half double crochet around, and that's going to give us 20, but it's also going to help our purse to start going back to being a circle. So 2 half double crochets, and this part, it's a little bit hard to hold, but it's not complicated. There isn't anything tricky to it. Just make sure you place 2 half double crochets in each of the half double crochets so that you have a total of 20 half double crochets. Let's get around here so that you can see the way the nose is looking. Let me just show you. I pull out some thread here. There's the nose. Back on around here. I sort of push it over when I'm doing this section so I can see the stitches. And I know where to go into. And at this point, I really want to count just in case I've gotten off at all. So there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 2, 4, 6, 8. We need to do 2 more. 1, 2. And see how that fans out? Now we can start making our circle to finish our face. Let me count again just to make sure I got the right amount of half double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I need to do 2 more. Like I said, it's always best to count rather than keep going, because if you keep going, you'll get your stitch count off. There we go. Now we've stitched 20 half double crochets around our nose. And now we're going to be increasing similar to what we did on the back. We're going to chain 2, and then we're going to place 1 half double crochet in the same stitch as that chain 2, and then we'll stitch 1 half double crochet in the next stitch, and then 2 half double crochets in the next stitch. And we'll do this all the way around. 1, and then 2. And it's pretty much the way we did the back. The only difference is we added up that little pokey nose so that the nose of the Chihuahua sticks out, or the puppy, because you can make it any puppy, remember? All right, let's get on around this row. 1 half double crochet in the next stitch, 2 half double crochets in the next stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows completed. For row 6, we're going to chain 2. We're going to half double crochet in the next stitch. Then we're going to half double crochet 2 half double crochets. Oops, I pulled a string. There we go. 1, 2. And we'll follow this pattern around. 1 half double crochet in the next 2 stitches. And then 2 half double crochets in the next stitch. And we'll do this all the way around. We'll join, chain 2, and then for row 7, we'll do exactly the same, only we will have 3 half double crochets and then the chain 2, similar to what we did on the back side. So on this row we have 1, 2 single half double crochets, and then we put 2 half double crochets in the next stitch. And then for row 7, we're going to do 3 half double crochets and then 2 half double crochets in the next stitch. So we'll continue to do those next 2 rows, and then I'll show you how to change colors. So I finished up, there we go, through row 7 with my purple, joined to my chain 2. I'm going to go ahead and cut that off, and we're going to switch back to the pink, because this is the face of the Chihuahua or the puppy, and now we're going to do the outside section in the pink so that it matches the back that we made earlier. So we cut that off, and we're going to join our pink in. Snug that down and chain 2. And then for this row, which is row 8, we're going to be stitching 4 single half double crochets. So our chain 2 counts as our first one. So we're going to go in our first stitch and stitch a half double crochet, and the next 3 for a total of 4. And then we'll stitch 2 half double crochets in the next stitch. The pink is just a little bit splitty today for some reason. All right, so we're going to stitch 1 half double crochet in each of the next 4 half double crochets. And then we're going to stitch 2 half double crochets in the next one. And this is the pattern that will follow around. 1 half double crochet in the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 2 half double crochets in the next stitch. We'll work this all the way around this row. Come back here, we'll join to the top of that chain 2, and we'll chain 2. This is row number 8, where we change the color. And now we're going to stitch the 9th row, and we joined to the top of our chain 2, and we're going to chain 2. And on the previous row we did 4 single crochets and then 2 single crochets together. And on this row we're going to stitch 5 not single crochets, half double crochets. So we're going to stitch 5 half double crochets. Our chain 2 counted as our first one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we're going to stitch 2 half double crochets in the next stitch. And we'll do this all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we'll stitch 2 half double crochets in the next stitch. And we'll repeat this all the way around for our face. 5 single half double crochets and then 2 single crochets together, and repeat that all the way around, join and chain 2. So we finished row 9, and now it's time to put the edge on like we did on the back. We stitched the flat surface circle, and then we did 2 rows of 1 half double crochet in each stitch around in order to form this edge. And so we're going to do the same thing on the front. So the next 2 rows we're going to stitch 1 half double crochet in each half double crochet around, so we can have an edge on the front of our purse just like we do on the back. So chain 2, 1, 2, and 1 half double crochet in each stitch around for 2 rows. And then we'll get to put the face on and the ears. Once you get those 2 rows of half double crochets done, don't tie off. Leave your yarn attached because we're going to use that to sew around. Now we want to stitch them so the wrong sides are together, so we're going to put them together. And we want to make sure that our loop is not where we start. So we want to move it over. And you want to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and center that loop about that 5th stitch. Now I leave about a 10-inch opening or the 10 stitch opening at the top. If you want a bigger opening, just center that loop where you want that opening to be. And because we're going to stitch here, and we're going to stitch all the way around with slip stitches, and making sure that loop is centered in the middle of where you're going to open it to put your goodies in. All right. And we want to make sure we've got the right sides together. And we're going to start stitching. And what I do is I just go through this one, and I pull that loop through, make a little slip stitch, and then we're going to begin stitching with slip stitches going through the loops of both the front and the back, and make slip stitches. Go through and make slip stitches, working all the way around. And if you have more stitches on the front or the back, just make a couple extra stitches. Don't skip any, because you don't want there to be a hole where the little girl loses her goodies that are in her little bag. Or if you made this for a little boy, it's a great little Halloween bag. Oh goodness, if they were dressed as a little superhero boy, superhero dog or whatever, and they wanted to carry a little Chihuahua bag to put their candy in, make sure you put that opening at the top. Make it bigger so those goodies can fit inside. But make sure you stitch all the way around. Put that up there. Stitching all the stitches nice and closed, because you don't want any of their goodies to get out. I've slip stitched all the way, stitching both the front and the back together, and I'm back here where I want to weave off, and so I'm going to cut that, and I'm also going to use my needle, because you want the sides here to be good and sturdy, because they're going to be putting goodies inside, in and out, and so I just cut it off, leave a little bit, and just stitch it good in there with my needle, nice and tight, because I don't want that to come undone, and I don't want whoever I give this to be afraid to play with it, that it might fall apart. So there we go. Let's flip it over. I do have some weaving in to do there, but we'll go ahead and flip this over. And there's our little bag. Isn't that the cutest thing ever? But it needs some eyes and it needs some ears. So what we're going to do next is we're going to make the eyes, and I've decided to make the center of my eyes blue. And what we're going to do, move my bag out of the way for just a second, is we're going to chain 3. We're going to place 4 half double crochets in the second chain from the hook, and that will give us 5 half double crochets, because the first chain 2 counts as our first half double crochet. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do one more, and this is the pupil of our eye. And then we're going to join to that first chain 2. There we go. So there's the pupil of our eye, and now we're going to join in our white. And we're going to chain 2, snug that down. We'll place another half double crochet in that same stitch. And then we'll place 2 half double crochets in each stitch around. There we go. I guess I just grabbed some splitty yarn today. It just keeps splitting on me. All right, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. We'll join that to the top of that chain too. And there's our little eye. Now we'll need to make 2 of these, and then we'll need to sew it on the front of our little dog. I stitched up the 2 eyes. They're ready to go, and I'll show you how to sew those on in just a minute. And I stitched up one of the ears, and I'm going to show you how to do that. We're going to do the center portion first, and then we'll add the back portion. There's done exactly the same, and then we stitch around them. So what we're going to do, I'm going to use the pink for the center of the ear. So we're going to, that was my slip knot, and we're going to chain 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now we're going to turn. We're going to stitch 1 single crochet in the second chain from the hook. So 1 single crochet in the next 8 chains. Some yarn out here. In our last chain, we're going to chain 2. So we have 8 single crochets and 2. 1, 2. Now we're going to turn, working down the opposite side of our chain. In that first chain, we're going to place 2 single crochets. Oops, I got my tail in there. Let's get that out of there. There we go. All right, so there's 1, 2. And now we're going to stitch 1 single crochet in the next 8 single crochets. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Alrighty, so there's 8 single crochets. We're going to chain 1 and we're going to turn. We're going to stitch 1 half double crochet in the first 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're going to stitch 1 single crochet in the last 5 stitches on that row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to keep moving around the top of the ear. Move that tail out of the way. And we'll stitch 5 single crochets in those first single crochets. One more. And then in these last 5 single crochets, we're going to stitch 1 half double crochet in each one. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, so there's the inside of our ear. We're going to go ahead and cut that off, and we're going to use our needle to weave in those ends. But for right now, I'm just going to tuck them in. There we go. Just to get them out of the way. There's our inside of our ear. And I've already done the purple one because that's the back side of our ear. And we sew these together. Go ahead and pull that in here. And we'll go ahead and make those just a little smaller so they're not in the way. And we're going to place the purple ear back sides together on the pink ear. And we'll go in our first stitch here and pull that purple loop up. So when you make the back side of your ear, don't tie it off. Leave it attached to your yarn because we're going to be stitching around both ears, hooking them together. So we're just going to go through the 2 loops here and the 2 loops here and stitch up the side of the ear, stitching single crochets till we get to the top of the ear. We should have 10 stitches on the side, and you want to stitch, especially if the back is a different color than the front like we're doing, make sure you stitch facing forward so that edge on the pink is the same color as the back. Then it gives the appearance of the inside and the outside of an ear. Alrighty, put a little more purple out there. We'll stitch 1 more. And we want our ear to have a little bit of a point. So what we're going to do is we're going to chain 3, and then we're going to go right back in that same stitch and stitch a slip stitch, and then we'll just go right on down the side of our ear. And what that does is that gives our ear just a little bit of a point, so it looks a little bit like a Chihuahua ear. See right there? Now you got to move it around a little because we're still moving around this side. And then we'll single crochet right down the side of our ear. There we go. Now I have made these where I've only done them single thickness, and they're just curled too much. They didn't lay pretty, and that's why I decided to start doing the double thickness. Okay, so we've stitched up our side, we added a little point, we stitched down the other side, and so now we're going to stitch across the bottom, and we're just going to place, there we go, stitch 1 in the corner, and then stitch about 4 or 5 across just so that it's even, and that will give you something to sew in when you're sewing across the ear to attach it to the hat, to attach it to the purse. Okay. Now make sure when you cut off, you leave yourself a little bit of yarn so that you can sew it in place. All right, so let's grab our purse. We need to attach our ears. We need to attach our eyes. So let's get our yarn needle here. So let me move these up. Let me show you how to do the eyes real quick. I always wait until after the purse is sewed together before I attach the facial features, because I'll end up with my eyes over here or something instead of up here, because I want to make sure they're lined up. So let's move this back a little. And what I do is I decide where I want my eye. Here's the center of my bag. Here's my tab. And I want my eyes to be kind of out. So I'm going to stick it over there. I'm just going to go inside the bag with my hand. And we're just going to make in and out stitches. Get in there. There we go. And I kind of go back and forth like that. My hand out of the way. Let me turn it a little so we can see. And just make sure that eye is attached real nice. I like them to be just a little bit buggy for the Chihuahua, because Chihuahuas have a little bit buggy eyes. But if your dog doesn't, you don't have to do them quite so buggy like I'm doing. And I just go around until I've used up all my yarn. And that will make sure that eye is not going anywhere. And then I'll pull it to the back and weave it in. And I'll just go like that for now, and I'll stitch that out later and cut that off. And I'll place my other eye right about there. All right, so here's the center of our bag. We want to center our ears. And so we'll thread our needle. And I lay it forward and stitch it first, going one way, just making loop stitches like this. And this kind of just places it where I want it. That way, if I don't like it where I've got it, I can take it out. And then I'll look at it. Okay, that one will be there. This one will be centered here. And I like that a lot. So now I got a string that needs to go to the back. There we go. We don't want our strings to show. I do like where I placed it. And so then I'll just stitch across it again. I'm going to grab that. Somehow I got an extra little loop in there, and I'll just grab it down. Because remember, you want these pieces to stay put because we want this little bag to be played with. And then again, I'll just bring that to the inside of the bag and tie that off. And that's how you sew on the eyes and the ears. Now, I do want to show you how to do the mouth real fast. Just cut you off a piece of black. You're going to go inside. We're going to go right. We're going to center off here. Get in there. There we go. It's kind of hard when you're using a blunt needle sometimes. All right, so there's our center. You want to make sure we don't pull our thread through, so I'm holding it underneath. And we're going to make a line here. And then we're going to go down just a little bit farther. And it's real, you know, it's real important to go through the stitches, not the holes, or you end up with your yarn coming through the holes. And I'll just go like that. Go back in here. There we go. And go right back in there. And there's our mouth. It's just real simple. And then we'll tie that off on the inside. Pull that string. Okay, then if you want to add a little tongue, super simple. You just take another piece of yarn. I'm going to use this bright pink. And I always kind of go down here and then come up. And I'll pull that string through and hold it with my hand. And then you just make a couple of little straight stitches. Like this. If you want it to have a little tongue. Now, you don't always have to do that. Poke that down in there. And there you have it. A little tongue. Now, the last thing we need to do is finish, of course, sewing on our other eye and our other ear. And then I'm going to show you how to make the handle. Super easy. And then we also need to sew on our button. I took a minute. And I sewed on the ears, and I sewed on the eyes, and now we need to add our button. And the way we do that is here's my button loop, and I want to line up my button, and I want it to kind of look like my Chihuahua has a flower on her head. So I chose a flower button, and you just sew it on, and make sure you give it, you know, a couple of loops so that it stays on there nice and tight. But you don't have to use a flower. You can use any button that you want. So I'm going to stitch that a couple of times. There we go. And we can just tie a knot and cut that off on the inside. I'm just going to set that in there for now. And then our button loop buttons over our flower. And I thought it was really fun when I found these button flowers to put on the dog bag. So anyway, the way we do our handle is really super simple. You take a strand of each color that you're using, or 2 strands of the same color, and you just make a chain. And I have on the pattern to chain about 50, but it's totally up to you how many chains that you want to do and how long you want your bag. If I'm going to give this to a child, I try not to make it real long because a lot of times they'll put them over their head, and I really don't want it to be a choking hazard. So tug on that, make sure that's nice and tight, same thing here. And then we're going to attach it to the bag, and where I attach it is in the opening. So let's go ahead and move our button. And here's the opening where our hand goes inside. And I want the edges of the handle to be right here. So what I'm going to do, I'll turn it like this, is I'm just going to put my hook up in there about, you know, 1/2 inch down. Pull that loop through there. Just like that. Don't want the whole braid to come through. And then on the underneath side, I'm just going to go through and make another little loop like this and tie a knot. Nice and snug, and then I'll tie another knot. And you can weave that in or you can cut that off. Just make sure that it's nice and secure. And of course, looks like I've got a little bit of weaving in to do. And I'll do the same thing on this side. Oops, there we go. Put my hook through about an inch, maybe a ½ inch down, however you feel it's secure. Pull it in. With those two ends and get a couple of loops. There we go. Didn't want to go in there, but that's okay. That means it's nice and tight. Like that. There we go. And we'll just tie us a nice knot that's not going to come out. And I'll do this a couple of times, of course. And then we'll weave those pieces of yarn in. I'm going to tuck them in right now. So there is our Chihuahua bag. And like I said at the beginning of the video, if you're not into Chihuahuas, but you love puppies, you can take the ears and tack them down, and it can become any puppy that you want it to be. So that's our Chihuahua bag. Makes a great birthday or Christmas gift, or even makes a nice gift bag. Put a gift card inside. That's a great idea too. So there you have it, our Chihuahua purse.